The Politics program, brought to you as always by TakePoliticsSeriously.com. Again, TakePoliticsSeriously.com. It leads you to our PayPal. No, it doesn't. Leads you to the Patreon. Yeah, that's the ticket. On that Patreon, you can subscribe at the $3 level. If you're at the $3 level, and that is per week, so about a cup of coffee a week, you get 3 editions of this podcast. One on Monday, the one you're listening to right now on Wednesday, and one on Friday. You can hear all the hot takes about all the issues that break in between when we do this show for free. And in your heart of hearts, you get to support this independent political outlet. You deserve a politics podcast that isn't playing to your fears, that isn't playing to your confirmation bias, that is giving you a sane, if satirical, take on the news. Yes, stay informed. Maybe give yourself a little belly laugh, but most importantly, understand that you can't always go to the pep rally. At a certain point, you got to see the scoreboard. That's what we bring you on this show. But enough of talking about how we support the program. What do you say we just do the damn thing? Oh, who is ready? Who is ready? Ladies and gentlemen, fresh as a flipped ham better. It's your boy, Justin Robert Young, coming back at you for another edition of the Politics program. Oh, this shutdown, we're in the longest shutdown ever. You want to know what? I'm a little annoyed. I'm going to get annoyed with the media real quick. We're going to do it right off the top. Because I'm annoyed with the media. You want to know why I'm annoyed with the media? Because at the beginning of this shutdown, all we got were all these stories about how bad the shutdown could be. Oh, remember that? The halcyon days of everybody in Yosemite was doing donuts in some protected wildlife refuge, shitting on the floor, opening up some kind of bootleg Tasty Freeze, copying home videos in gross defiance of the FBI warning at the beginning. That was before, because this is what we do. There's like a playbook that every newsroom has that covers politics, that as soon as a shutdown happens, they open it up and they say, what do we write about? Okay, well, these are the things that are closed, so let's go ahead and write out a scenario, though, what would happen in 4 months if the government was shut down. Now, of course, they know that the longest government shutdown was 17 days. Or sorry, it was 21 days or 22 days. We're now past that. But here's what I'm annoyed about. Now, today, on January 16th, is when you should be writing those stories. At the beginning, you shouldn't be writing about, oh, here are all the costs, here are all the consequences, here are all the doomsday scenarios that could happen, all the, oh, nobody's going to get their IRS, no one's going to get their tax refunds. But now you should. You wasted all those stories 3 weeks ago. All I'm asking is to keep that same energy, baby. Come on. Because now's when shit is actually interesting. We're actually at a point that we have not been at before. We are actually trying to figure out how we are going to handle this particular situation. Strange things are afoot, including the news today. Nancy Pelosi has said that she is recommending, for safety reasons, that the president, Donald Trump, not give his State of the Union if the government is still shut down. Now, that State of the Union would be January 29th. We read now from an AP article. A grand Washington ritual became a potential casualty of the partial government shutdown Wednesday as House Speaker Nancy Pelosi asked President Donald Trump to postpone his January 29th State of the Union speech. She cited concerns about whether the hobbled government can provide adequate security. But Republicans cast her move as a ploy to deny Trump the stage. In a letter to Trump, Pelosi said that with both the Secret Service and the Homeland Security Department entangled in the shutdown, the president should speak to Congress another time or he should deliver his address in writing. Homeland Security Secretary Kirstjen Nielsen denied anyone's safety is compromised, saying both agencies are, quote, fully prepared to support and secure the State of the Union. This is not a real thing. We are talking about the politics being played on how this is being handled, how this shutdown is being handled. It is not. Look, Homeland Security and the Secret Service are fine. It's not like the Secret Service is rationing out bulletproof vests. They are well funded enough to make sure that the president isn't shot, unless it's somebody in Congress that would plan on doing the shooting. And even then, I think they'd be okay. But we are at a point now, on January 16th, where this shutdown has indeed stopped being polite and started getting real. Donald Trump's approval ratings have declined. The Rasmussen Reports poll, this again is the most favorable poll to Donald Trump. The one that he pointed to throughout the campaign in 2016, the one he pointed to after the campaign to say, look, while every other major media outlet, when every other poll undersampled Republicans, undersampled new voters, undersampled these states that had tremendous love for Donald Trump, one got it closest to being correct, and that was Rasmussen. Well, guess what, homie? Rasmussen has Donald Trump in the high 30s this week. This is the same poll that in October had him at 50-50. Easily the highest that we have seen him. A 50% approval rating. He has been underwater for the vast majority, I think maybe with very rare exceptions, and it's usually Rasmussen that puts him close to 50-50, if not just peeking over the edge. Other than that, everybody else has got him underwater. Everybody else has had him in the negatives. Well, even Rasmussen says, dude, people are getting sick of it. Well, look, I mean, if Nancy Pelosi is already out here trying to pull power moves, if Donald Trump is looking at his plummeting approval rating, then we have to be close to some kind of resolution. Right? Right? Bueller? No, we're not. We're nowhere close. Nobody has any interest in shutting this shutdown down. Folks, it is ongoing and it is ongoing forever. I'm going to say something that is rare for me. Rare. I don't say this a lot. I think Ann Coulter has a really, really, really good handle on this situation. Now, I enjoy Ann Coulter for Ann Coulter. I understand that she has created a very tremendous career for herself as a prolific writer and personality. I think that she is there. She was triggering the libs before triggering the libs was cool. Her role as a pundit seems to be somebody who can only be unmade in the fires of Mount Doom. She was on Vice News either last night or the night before. And when asked by the interviewer why Donald Trump has stuck to his guns, the answer is because he has no choice. Donald Trump is fighting for his presidency. He is fighting for his political life in this shutdown. If he does not build a wall or begin building a wall by the time that he is out on the campaign trail, in the words of Ann Coulter, he is dead, dead, dead. Now, I think that there is probably a little bit more wiggle room between he can claim some kind of victory and dead, but I think that she's right in terms of his own motivation. I think Donald Trump looks at this shutdown and says, hey, look, either my party sells me out, I win, or nothing. There are two solutions. Two solutions. Either the Dems cave and they give me money, I declare victory. Either the GOP sells him out, Mitch McConnell sells him out, or nothing. That's it. Because he'd rather die on the sword right now. He would rather run his approval rating into the ground. He would rather be a pariah for government workers forever. Forever known as the government shutdown equivalent of the bubonic plague. The bubonic plague. Easy for me to say. Then he would go out on the campaign trail and try and explain to those that have supported him that this is the reason why he did not do what he said he was going to do. Meanwhile, that second option of the Republicans selling him out, it just might happen. This from Politico. Bipartisan Senate effort to end the shutdown hits a wall. Now, this is what's called a gang. Senate gang, Senate gang, Senate gang, Senate gang. This is a bipartisan group. They're trying to pressure Mitch McConnell. Into bringing up the fact that some of these senators have elections in 2020 and they would not like to be blamed for the government shutdown. We read now from Politico. A bipartisan effort to dig the government out of a shutdown hit a major snag on Wednesday as Democrats accused the Trump administration of beating back GOP support for a letter to President Donald Trump committing to work on a border security package. By the end of the day, the letter's signers were stalled far short of the 20 senators in both parties that supporters were trying to accrue. Many Republicans wanted more of a commitment from House Speaker Nancy Pelosi to move forward. Others thought it was pointless to endorse it if there was no signal from Trump that he might accept it. Senators had hoped to set up a meeting with Vice President Mike Pence on Wednesday, though the meeting never occurred. By the way, Trump has previously rejected similar proposals to reopen the government, and Democrats blame Pence and White House advisor Jared Kushner for tanking the push. Quote, I found it wrong and doesn't serve the country when Republican senators want to sign a letter for the vice president and Jared Kushner to be lobbying against it, said Minority Leader Chuck Schumer. So, for as much as Trump has asked for blame, has asked for ownership, and it seems based on all available polling, is earning that ownership for this shutdown, there is the other element that it's not like Congress is getting more popular. In general, the more this becomes toxic, the more you're going to see real political gravity play out. And both sides believe that they have the true physics lesson that will ultimately be proven. On the Republican side, the Trump side, not only does he have to do this for his base, but if you're going to make an argument for his strategy, you would say that right up until Donald Trump announced, Democrats really didn't give a shit about the wall. Really didn't give a shit about the wall. Like, the polling bears that out. Democrats thought it was a waste of money, but ultimately it's like, okay, build a wall, build a fence, who cares? It's ineffectual. It's a waste of cash. Who cares? Then Donald Trump started running for president. And he made it his signature campaign issue. And now all of a sudden, the idea of a wall from Democratic voters plummeted. So if you're Trump, you're saying, hey, look, the realer this gets, the less that people will care about the fact that this is a wall, right? Because this isn't gay marriage. This isn't health care. This isn't some gigantic entitlement. It's $5.7 billion, which sounds quite a bit to you and me, and probably everybody who's not catching a paycheck at TSA. But in the grand scheme of the federal government, is a duck fart. Now, on the other side, the Democrats say, well, you're right. Liberal voters, Democratic voters didn't care about a wall until Trump started running. But it did change. And it changed because of Donald Trump. And the current president is Donald Trump, which means that as long as Trump is the president, people are going to hate the goddamn wall. And if they hate the wall, then they're not going to be very happy if we gave him the money. And it seems like you are sinking faster than us, so let's play a little game of chicken. You'll hit the ground before we do. And that's where we are. I've said on this show, I've said on the live stream, I've said on Instagram, I've said to the barista at my local coffee shop, I've said to my mother, I've said to anybody who will listen that I can't believe that the Democrats cut off all options for themselves and went with not one penny right now. But we'll see. We'll see. And in the meanwhile, apparently TSA is getting even looser than it was before. Reports from the John F. Kennedy Airport in New York City. By the way, why is JFK Airport in New York City and not in Boston? Wouldn't it make more sense if the JFK Airport was in Boston? I never thought about that until right now. Apparently, the TSA agents not giving much of a fuck. The reports today that they were playing Travis Scott and Drake's hit single "Sicko Mode." Although I also heard today that the TSA line fiasco thing is a little overblown. There was one viral video about a line in Atlanta that stretched like out into the baggage claim area, and that obviously was true because there was visual proof of it. But I would guess it's not as bad as people think. All right, let's talk about the other thing that everybody got up in arms about. Clemson Tigers won the college football championship. Unlike many of the professional sports teams, college teams still enjoy a trip to the White House. And Clemson was no different. But the problem is that we are still in this shutdown. So, what do you do? What do you do when you don't want to seem like you are unaffected by the shutdown? When apparently the White House kitchen staff has been furloughed? Well, ba-da-ba-ba-ba, he's loving it. Donald Trump personally paid for Clemson's fast food White House feast. If you have not seen these pictures, they are fairly amazing. The Clemson Tigers came in and were treated to a gigantic pile of food from the following culinary touchstones of American life: Wendy's, Burger King, McDonald's, and Domino's. Salads, burgers, fish fillets, nuggets. There were Lincoln-era gravy boats that were filled with packets of McNugget sauce. Look, here's what I'm going to say about this. Nobody would give a fuck about this if it weren't for Trump. Nobody. People would find it funny. Listen, here's all that matters. Did the kids like it? Did the Clemson kids like it? They're 19 years old, and they weigh 400 pounds if they're on the offensive line. Do you think that they didn't think it was kind of rad that they got to eat a bunch of Wendy's hamburgers and shook the president's hand? No, they probably thought it was pretty cool. To be totally honest, if I got an opportunity, look, everybody gets to go to the White House and have a nice dinner. You got to go to the White House and have a filet of fish sandwich. This is a unique experience that few will forget in the annals of college football history. In fact, I would not be shocked if it becomes something that college football teams request. Because again, they're fucking 19 and 20 years old. They're kids. Kids love fast food. I ate so much goddamn fast food when I was in college. Now, you can make an argument that it should have been better heated. I'm with you there. Your friend and mine, C. Robert Cargill, the author of the Doctor Strange film, he went on a rant on Twitter about how, you want to know what? It's easier and better to heat these things properly. You could have taken a few very simple steps, and all of these things could have not been served at room temperature. They could have been heated to a reasonable degree because, as we all know, fast food is not exactly something that can sit out very long. The taste changes. It needs to be eaten almost immediately after completion. And to that I say, salient political point. I agree. I agree with that. You could have made this fast food more temperature appropriate for the champions of Clemson. But here's what's fucking ridiculous. And I'm sorry, I'm trying to cut down on some of the cursing here. So I will apologize to our Christian affiliates. I saw a thing on r/politics. r/politics has its own point of view about things. And r/politics point of view is not in general favorable to the president, let's say. And the top of that thread about this ham better feast, which is what Trump typoed in his tweet about it, was that, oh my God, what an idiot. What an idiot Trump is. You want to know what he should have done? He should have had a cookout. He should have been flipping burgers himself and handed them to the kids. Now, on one level, it is true that the last time that Clemson won the national championship, they were treated to a cookout. However, the last time that Clemson was there, it was in freezing and snowing in D.C. Come on now. Have some goddamn common sense. And whatever, it's a fun thing. It's just so silly. Everybody gets all worked up about it. Oh, he's ruining the office. One thing I did like also was that all the McDonald's items that he got were on the 2 for $5 menu. Which, that one can go either way. That one can go either way. You could say, oh, look, what a cheap ass. Or if you're a big Trump fan, you can say, hey, look, ahead of schedule and under budget, even when it comes to that fast food order, boy. Folks, if you want this kind of commentary in your inbox 5 days a week, then I highly, highly, highly recommend that you sign up for our free political newsletter. Again, that is freepoliticalnewsletter.com. Head on over there right now. Just do me a favor. While you're listening to me right now, just go freepoliticalnewsletter.com. It's just so easy. You'll know you're on the right site when you see Jeb Bush begging you to clap. You'll see Jeb asking, please clap. Free political newsletters. 5 stories, Monday through Friday. Some hot takes, mostly gifts, usually from Chappelle's show. Just enter your email address right in there. We are growing fast on this. We are now rounding the corner, close to 2,000 subs within our first year of doing this. I am very, very, very proud of what we've done on the free political newsletter. If you haven't gotten a chance to sign up for it, go ahead and do it. If you get it and you like it, 2 things. Number 1, if you're on Gmail and you see it in your promo little folder that it wants to put it in, take it out of there. It helps. Everybody that does that, Gmail sorts it like site-wide to know that it should not go in that promo folder. Also, if you dig it and you know somebody else that might dig stuff like this, quick read every morning, mostly gift commentary. Every once in a while I get a wild hair and I'm going to write what I think about something. Folks, recommend it. Recommend it to a pal of yours. freepoliticalnewsletter.com. Let me ask y'all a question. All right? And I'm going to ask here our live viewership on twitch.tv/JustinRYoung. We are recording this one every Wednesday at about 4 p.m. Pacific time. That is 7 p.m. Eastern time. Are we not taking Bernie seriously enough as a threat to win the White House? Yes or no? In fact, let me take out the not. Do you take Bernie seriously as a chance to be president? Do you think that Bernie is a serious threat to win the White House? Yes or no? Do you believe in Bernie? The results are coming in, and so far, negative. No. Nope. No way. Nah, he's old hat. Nah. No. But I didn't believe in Trump either, says Snakesio. This was sent in to us by one of our listeners. It is a story from a site called The Baffler. It's Bernie, bitch, is the headline. Bad faith liberals still blindly downplay Sanders' chance. In it, it makes the case that Bernie Sanders is somebody that very much should be taken seriously as a presidential hopeful. And I am here to tell you that they're right. Everything that we are going to see in 2020, we should, if we do not learn lessons from 2016, it will be at our peril. So what do we learn in the Republican primary in 2016? What do we learn? We learned that it doesn't matter if you have all the right bona fides. Doesn't matter if you have all the right money. Doesn't matter if you have all the right connections. What you really need is 15% of voters that will do anything for you. Specifically if it's a very crowded primary. Because in a crowded primary, 15% looks like a lot. So Snake CL says, I think Hillary was doomed to lose. Don't focus on Hillary for right now. Focus on the primary. If the lesson is you can do a lot with a small percentage of the electorate in a very crowded primary, then the question is the Democratic field going to be crowded? And the answer to that is undoubtedly yes. So, why shouldn't we be giving Bernie a chance? It's not like a lot of the negatives seem to stick to him. Let's remember the following things about Bernie Sanders. Bernie Sanders is old as shit and was old as shit last time. Bernie Sanders does not have mainstream Democratic views when it comes to gun rights. Bernie Sanders is an international novice in a way that pretty much mirrored Donald Trump. Now, they went a different way about it, but when Bernie Sanders gets up on stage and says that the greatest international problem that we are facing is global warming, well, it doesn't exactly make you feel good about how he's going to handle Russia or Syria. What Bernie has that many others don't is a clear and singular message for the Democratic electorate. Which, by the way, he's still not part of the fucking party. Capitalism in our country is broken, and government needs to take radical steps to fix it. That's what matters. That is the gigantic issue that is equivalent to Donald Trump saying we need to build a wall. That's all that matters with people. As long as he still says that, as long as he still says that they want to cancel student debt, as long as he continues to talk about Glass-Steagall and the top 1% of the 1%, as long as he preaches that he is the righteous holy warrior who can take down income inequality, doesn't matter how much he loves guns. Doesn't matter how much he is ignorant on foreign policy. Doesn't matter how many people got sexually harassed in his 2016 campaign. It matters that he's the guy that will do the thing. And considering we just elected a guy who no matter what will do the thing, I can't see a reason why we should not take Bernie Sanders deadly serious in this race. I hate everyone so shut up says, as I said, Bernie pretty much wasted his chance last time. Oh, I don't think that he wasted his chance. I think he maximized his chance. He didn't have a chance. How did he have a chance? Hillary had the superdelegates locked up from the beginning. She learned her lesson with Obama, and this time there would be no competition. And lo, there was not from the Democratic Party. Bernie Sanders ran outside the fucking party. Well, let's get into who else will be running against him. This is a segment that I am going to do as everybody starts announcing. We had 3 official announcements. I need to start adding stuff to our back wall here. I need to get my Forrest Gump Photoshops ready, because we have 3 that are going to go up by next episode. Ladies and gentlemen, I will welcome everybody into this race the best way that I know how. In fact, I dare say that this is going to be the greatest blessing that I could give each and every one of these candidates that are running for president. Because, friends, I spent 2 years doing this to the man that is now in the Oval Office. Folks, I will welcome each and every one of these candidates in by explaining to you, the dear listener and viewer, why they won't be president. And considering I did this to Trump for 2 years and now he is president, it's the best way I could wish them luck. Here we go. Julian Castro announced, "Hey, Julian, what do you feel like doing?"
I just felt like running.
Julian Castro announced over the weekend, here's why he won't be president. Number 1, he's a GoBot to Beto's Transformer, a Texas Democrat with an easygoing demeanor that seems to be ready-made to appeal to moderates. Problem is that if Beto's in the race, he will be more well-capitalized, and he will have a bigger national footprint. So it's going to be hard for him to gain traction unless Beto doesn't run or totally impales himself. Julian, Amish Overlord says perhaps the name, too. I don't know. We elected a Barack Hussein Obama. I think Julian Castro will be fine. Here's one thing that I will say about Julian Castro. Let's go ahead and get a look at the man. As it was pointed out by my my strategic advisor, Tamar, Julian would make of the Democratic possibles so far would make the best drag queen, right? He's got tremendous eyebrows. I think he would probably be the breast, the breast, paging Dr. Freud. He would be the best drag queen. And here's the only race he's going to win. The only race that he is going to win is who is the better looking twin. He is a twin. His brother is Joaquin Castro. And let's just say that when it comes to the genes for the solid hairline, Julian won. Hey, Kirsten Gillibrand, what are you thinking about doing?
I just felt like running.
Kirsten Gillibrand is, well, let me ask y'all a question. Y'all know what the Ponchin Llama is? Y'all ever heard of this? The Ponchin Llama? Yeah, it's this concept, right? Like so the Dalai Lama, okay? So the Dalai Lama reincarnates. There's one soul that has inhabited the Dalai Lama. So the Ponchin Lama is the next vessel for that soul. The way that they determine who the Ponchin Lama is, these are kids, right? That they go to see whether or not the soul of the Dalai Lama will inhabit this child is they bring a bunch of the personal effects, one personal effect of the old Dalai Lama. They then set that amongst a bunch of other, things, and they ask the kid, listen to your own feelings. Which of these calls to you? So imagine Kirsten Gillibrand as a young girl. All of a sudden, a man in a limo comes up and sits her down in her living room, has a conversation with Kirsten's mom, and then lays out several well-folded, dry-cleaned pantsuits. And then they asked young Kirsten, reach out and touch whichever pantsuit feels most at home for you. Folks, Kirsten Gillibrand is the Panchen Lama to Hillary Clinton's Dalai Lama. She inherited Hillary's seat. She said out loud that Bill Clinton should have been impeached. She is younger and yet drives in the same lane without some of the baggage that Hillary has accumulated over the past several decades. Now, Kirsten Gillibrand has some pluses. She studied with actress Connie Britton. She has some minuses. She's the daughter to two lawyers. Although if you're going to have a legacy candidate to Hillary Clinton, you can never have enough lawyerly influence. But she's made some enemies amongst the Democratic faithful. Let's not forget that Politico ran a hit piece about her a few weeks ago from donors, on-the-record donors, saying that they would never give her not one red cent because she was the one that when Al Franken was drowning, she pushed him further underwater. Yep. She said that sexual assault cannot be tolerated anywhere, and even Al Franken needs to have an example made out of him. Can Kirsten Gillibrand, who announced her candidacy on The Late Show with Stephen Colbert, be president? No. But I think even she has a better chance than the next candidate. Hey, Tulsi, what do you feel like doing?
I just felt like running.
Tulsi Gabbard is QB2 to Bernie Sanders' QB1. If you're not familiar with football, she's the backup. Bernie Sanders is the man who will own that lane. He will own the lane of the guy who says he will do the thing. Capitalism is rigged. Capitalism needs to be overturned. I'm the person to do it. Now, if Bernie Sanders were to die, do something that even his base found objectionable, or maybe just be so old that a strong breeze would blow him in to the jet stream as if Thanos had snapped his finger, then Tulsi Gabbard, I believe, would inherit that mantle. Because ultimately, she's going to need that. Now, there are some troubling things about Tulsi's past. She was not always a firebrand liberal. She was not always a stick-to-her-guns liberal. Remember, Tulsi Gabbard, a rising star in the party, gave up her spot at the Democratic National Convention because she believed that Bernie Sanders should have gotten that nomination. She earned points. She earned points while Elizabeth Warren did not. Remember, Elizabeth Warren stayed on the fence. The North remembers stuff like that, or at least the people that Tulsi hopes will think about voting for her. Now, the problem with Tulsi is that, she used to be a Republican. Her father was a Republican. she's got some fairly ugly comments in her past about gay marriage and the radical homosexual agenda. And then, there's the whole Syria thing. Yeah. She went to Syria and she spoke with Assad, who's, a brutal dictator. And she's kind of equivocated on certain issues when it comes to Syria. You wouldn't have to wonder if she would pull a Gary Johnson and not know where Aleppo is because, you have to have an address if you're cashing a check from somebody. And she's also she's a Hindu, but she's part of like a sect of Hinduism. Which, granted, look, the Republicans put a Mormon up, so anything is possible, but I don't know. That one would be a bit of a challenge. She's got an uphill climb. I don't think that Tulsi can do it. Julian Castro, Kirsten Gillibrand, Tulsi Gabbard, I am here to tell you, you will never be president. Speaking of president, you guys, we're getting way too early battleground general election polls. Oh, yes, we did. Yes, we did. Oh, God, you have no idea how much this nourishes me. Oh, God, I'm so excited. Oh, all these times we're just getting these polls. Oh, do people not like Congress? Of course they don't like Congress. Do people not like the president? Of course they don't like the president. Reading all these foreign polls, I don't even know what the hell's going on. Well, these aren't even about the Democratic primary. No. These are general election polls for a battleground state. But there's only one way that we talk about polls on this very show. Yes, folks. If you are new to the program, please welcome yourself. Come on in. Get that $100 bill and break it all into ones because, ladies and gentlemen, you are now officially welcomed into the
Get on the floor if you got that booty.
Dance, 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 dance. This is a South Carolina presidential battleground poll between Donald Trump and Joe Biden, conducted by PPP. Conducted from January 4th to January 7th. It has a sample size of 750 registered voters and a margin of error of 3.6. Stepping up first to the stage with 44% of the vote. Please give a round of applause to your sitting president, Donald J. Trump!
Get on the floor if you got that booty.
But your headliner, with 49% of the vote, the former Vice President of the United States. It's a big fucking deal. Joe That is Trump 44, Biden 49, Joe with a 5-point spread. None of that means anything. It literally means nothing. It's such a ridiculous poll, but I can't get enough of it. Although they did conduct a bunch of them, 6 of them to be exact. Warren, Booker, Beto. Yeah, let's go ahead and take a look here. Oh, did I say South Carolina? It was North Carolina. F me. Whoopsie doodle. North Carolina. Trump versus Warren, Trump versus O'Rourke, Trump versus Biden, Trump versus Kamala Harris, Trump versus Sanders, and Trump versus Booker. They have Trump tying Warren, Trump leading over O'Rourke, Biden scored the best as up 5, tie with Harris, Sanders up 3 points, and leading Cory Booker. So, interesting. I mean, in no way meaningful, but data is data is data is data is data. All right, let's go ahead and get into your emails. You can go ahead and write in at theyoungamerican@gmail.com. Again, theyoungamerican@gmail.com. John writes, just curious if you'll be doing a State of the Union live stream. I don't know. If I do, I will let you guys know here. But if it gets delayed, maybe. In general, nights are complicated because of equipment issues. But I will keep you in the know. Andy writes, not that it's a huge surprise that Booker is good at fundraising, but I made a connection based on your story about Booker and Rosario Dawson. The producer for Dear Evan Hansen, the show in which Rosario serenaded Mr. Booker, is Stacey Mindich, from whom he's undoubtedly got the tickets. Stacey's husband is none other than hedge fund billionaire Eric Mindich, a well-known supporter of Democratic candidates. Mr. Mindich gave almost $90,000 to Democratic candidates, including Booker, in 2016, according to CampaignMoney.com. Are they a reliable source? I have no idea. I think so, because I think they just take FEC filings. I don't know what to make of that other than Mr. Booker has the contacts to get tickets to one of the hardest tickets in Broadway, and he has a great taste in women. If it helps, I'm white and I'm a registered Republican, but I generally vote Democratic. Oh, there is no doubt that Cory Booker knows how to fundraise, and he knows how to fundraise in New York, which is a great place to know how to fundraise. Ken writes, are you surprised that not one of the 150 people running for the Democratic presidential nomination have bucked Pelosi and Schumer on the wall funding? Is a centrist Democrat doomed in any near-term primaries? They wouldn't even be able to be for the wall funding, just come out for a compromise deal. There's probably a ton of things Dems could get in exchange for a $5 billion wall, Dreamers or border humanitarian aid, to name 2. I think a centrist Democrat who is willing to compromise a little would do much better in 2020 than somebody to the left of Bernie. Also, giving Trump his $5 billion for the wall has a huge probability of helping the Dems in 2020. The chance of a bloated U.S. government actually building more than 3 inches of new wall by 2020 is very slim. This would allow the Dem candidate to blast Trump as a failure. We gave you your funding and you still couldn't deliver. I guess you should stick to ice rinks in Central Park. Ken, you're not wrong, and we may get there, but right now I think any Democratic candidate is A, not going to fuck with their opening salvo of people just being happy that there are people running for president against Trump. And also, nobody wants to be the spoil sport if they believe that Trump's about to take an L. I think that Democratic voters just want Trump to fail. That's it. That's the number one thing they want. Trump to eat shit. So if the popular idea is that Trump is about to eat shit, why would you give him any kind of out? Why would you leave the tent to in any way make him not eat as much shit as possible? Ninja Steve writes, Ninja Steve here. I understand your theory that about Dems floating out crazy pants ideas for deals on a border wall, and I really like it for all of its wackiness potential. It's just that I think that this would seem to be a great plan if they didn't have to go through the Republican-controlled Senate too. They have good reason not to negotiate with Trump on the wall. I mean, aside from all the hate for any kind of wall funding amongst Democrats that would cause funding for a wall to be a poison pill that they also have to swallow, I'm sure they figured at this point it would just be a gamble on who has to choke the most. And some Dems would be willing to take the bet, and Trump may even be willing to swallow arsenic to get his wall, but a lot of Senate Republicans are loath to do anything that might rattle their constituents and jeopardize their chances of riding that congressional re-election wave into retirement. Now, those squirrely Republicans still have to vote to pass whatever poison pill deal the House passes. And we've seen how difficult it is to get them to agree to the sketchy shit even when they control both chambers of Congress. Chuck and Nancy know all this, and they know that the Senate Republicans aren't going to take the bait as readily as Trump would. So here's the key. They're not there to negotiate with Trump. They're there to put pressure on Mitch McConnell until he's willing to work on a deal to bring something to the floor of the Senate. It is then and only then that they'll put together a deal with more money for border security, minus a wall, and enough support on both sides to override Trump. Then Chuck and Nancy can ride in looking like bipartisan heroes who just vanquished the big bad evil guy using their smarts and teamwork. IMO, Trump is the least of their worries. McConnell is the key to getting any real work done since he holds the power to bring whatever he wants to the Senate floor. But that's just my 2 cents, and that's what I would do in their position. I'm with you. The Iron Turtle is immovable. However, he's been moved by Trump before. McConnell did not like that criminal justice reform bill. Trump got him to bring it up and vote on it. If this is something that Trump is loudly beating the drum on, it will be hard to bring an end to the longest shutdown in history for even a man as disciplined as the turtle to reject it, in my opinion. I also think that, me bleating on about how the Democrats should be looking for stuff is useless. Like, we're way past the Democrats asking for stuff. They've already locked themselves in. You can't start with not one single penny and then say, but what about this? Now, if they had started with, well, what about this? And then said, well, you wouldn't do that. So now it's not one single penny. You could go back. But if you start with not one penny, you can't. You're just, they're playing chicken. Either of them are really doing anything that would bring us close. Sean writes a few quick thoughts on Clemson's on the Clemson 5-year-old birthday party at the White House. These are elite athletes with access to special athlete-only dining halls, right? Maybe this is comfort food for him, but it seems odd. Isn't the White House chef personally employed by the president? I'm fairly confident that's true. The furlough would affect banquet staff, but it shouldn't affect the chef and cooks, right? Does Donald J. Trump own any fast food franchises? How did DJT miss the opportunity to use Trump steaks? If he had grilled up some Trump steaks and had casual barbecue get-together, then it would have been a great photo op. Again, I don't think that a snowbound barbecue would have been the best idea. I think this was fine. I mean, it became a photo op that everybody wound up talking about. David in Fond du Lac, Wisconsin says, I'm just trying to reach out, maybe ask a request. You're doing the right thing by trying to cut through the narratives and keep everybody on topic with politics. I I recently had a falling out with a cousin on Facebook over politics. I read tonight's newsletter, and the announcement that this shutdown will not end anytime soon makes me know that I made the right decision to uninstall Facebook and Messenger from my phone, and I'm stepping back from daily use to once a week with a PC browser. This shutdown is hurting everyone, and Facebook has not been helping me and my family with all of it. I'm going through some painful grief, horrible memories of the past. My cousin unknowingly hurt me and brought out what she lashed out at me on why we need a wall now. I know you can't discuss this on the show. Oops. And there's enough drama to deal with politics for you right now. My request is a recommendation of other podcasts or outlets for me to discuss my grief. Oh, man. I don't know about discussing your grief, but I would greatly recommend that everybody go listen to Something's Off with Andrew Heaton. It is a very smart show. It is a very funny show. I think that it is a tremendous compliment to this program here. It's, like politics, except, with actual comedy and a smarter commentator and guests and better audio quality and probably way more popular. Chris writes, do you think that Manafort, who seemed to be pretty decent at strategy, may have had his lawyers screw up their redaction on purpose? This would allow him to file for an appeal on the grounds of incompetent counsel. When the court inevitably denies the appeal, it opens the door for Trump's pardon. Brilliant if you think about it. This entire media has spent days talking about how incompetent his lawyers are. Chris, if that's the case, then boy, howdy. Manafort should have been smarter than everything that he did before that got him into this trouble that we are seeing right now. Folks, email me, theyoungamerican@gmail.com. Again, theyoungamerican@gmail.com. Music has been provided by Valesco and Trop Killers. You can follow me at Justin R. Young everywhere. Download archived episodes of this show at bonerwars.com and join our Discord. You want to talk about politics all goddamn day? Well, then do it on our Discord, bit.ly/jurydiscord, JURYDISCORD. If you don't like having to deal with Twitter to get your news, this is a great place to get it. We have an amazing community that is posting stuff all hours of the night. Silly memes, real stories, good discussion. Join the community. It's a revolution, and we're just welcoming you. Folks, that about wraps it up for me. A reminder, some shows talk about politics. Some shows talk about politics. And some shows talk about politics, but this one, this is the only show. The only show that talks about all three.
Diamond Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.